Assalamualaikum, what is up guys? Apa khabar semua? How are you guys today? We are back again in another league race video for this league was previously known as F1 International, but now they've decided to change the name to Los Muertos Racing. I don't know why, but they've decided to change the name mainly because of to avoid confusion, because there are many other leagues out there that are using international or F1 International as their league names. So nevertheless, the league is based in USA. Most of the drivers are from Mexico, Canada. One guy is from Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm the only one from Malaysia. So as you can see there, we are on the second stint or lap 2 of our qualifying. I was already on pole position, but I decided to go out again and make a final run, a final stint to ensure that I can stay and keep the pole position for this race. So this is my first league race for Qatar, and so far it's looking good. The delta is green for us, which is always good, and we did keep the pole position and we improved our time for qualifying. This is actually a new update for the league itself, where they've decided to restrict everyone to preset setup, meaning we are only allowed to use a default setup given by the games. And apart from that, the strategy is free for us to manipulate, and you saw my strategy there. I decided to start on hard, and for Qatar, for my driving style, I have to bring another extra 1.5 lap worth of fuel. So this is the start of the race. I get a decent start, not a perfect start for me to say, but going into turn 1, whips in Ferrari, got a lot of respect from the driver. I have to say, Whips is getting more and more mature in his driving, and he decided to play it safe in sector 1 and sector 2. Now here you can see that I've made a mistake into that corner by going too aggressive on the curb, and Whips was quick to take advantage of my mistake, which is okay for me because I prefer to drive behind someone. But then Buck in the Red Bull decided to make a challenge, but Mark came out of nowhere. Since he's the only one on soft, so he's the only one who's quicker than the three of us. But I've made a mistake on the outside. I turned in on him, and I've damaged my front wing. So I had to go through the race from the second lap with a damaged front wing, which is truly devastating for my pace. So I had to adjust my driving. As you can see there, I was a tad bit slow, and I almost bumped into my teammate Fire here, the other Mercedes driver, and I asked him to overtake me and keep the position, because obviously I was not at a good pace. So I was happy to let my teammate through, since both of us are actually driving for the same team. And also, we are actually quite behind in terms of points in the championship, which I will share at the end of this race. So at this point, we were defending against Agave, who was reserving for AlphaTauri. So my thought process at the point was, I want Fire to push as hard as he can, since he's driving on medium and I was on hard tire, and I have a damage. So unfortunately, we have a virtual safety car that I did not utilize. I don't know what went through my mind. I did thought about it. I wanted to pit, but at the time I thought that, okay, we can see a safety car, a virtual safety car. We might end up with an actual safety car at some point of the race. So I've decided to gamble on it, and the safety car never came, and I had to endure the damage until the end of the race. But before we go through that, as you can see here, Agave was closing in on us, and Fire was not improving his pace. Surprisingly enough, I could keep up with Fire while having a front wing damage. So we were discussing for quite some time, and Fire was suggesting that I should take the position, but I don't want to compromise his race since he does not have any damage. He's on a good strategy, but in the end I was given the position by Fire nevertheless, and again we almost bumped into each other because of some FPS lag. I didn't anticipate Fire to be as close as that to me, and now Fire has to defend again against Agave, which I've been doing for the past 8 laps of the race. But in lap number 10, the situation changed. Mark suddenly overtook Agave and also Fire, and now I have to defend against Mark, which was the guy who was in Alpha Tauri on soft tire. Now he is on his second stint driving on hard tire.
Go.
And he just went past us, overtake us quite easily because of the damage itself. And he noticed it. He asked me, do you have any damage during the race? And I said, yes, I do. I have a front wing damage. And I was still questioning myself, why didn't I pit during the VSC at this point? But we are in the 14th lap of the race, and I don't think I should think too much about the VSC, and I'll just go ahead with the strategy, because at the end of the day, racing is about making decision in split second and under pressure. So I have to live with that decision. So in the 14th lap, I've decided to pit a lap earlier than my strategy, because I realized that I'm losing too much pace against the top 3 runners, which were Buck, Whips, and also Marked at this point. And because of the wing change, the front wing change, I had to exit the pit stop, exit the pit lane behind Agave and Fire at this point. So I have a lot of work to do at the beginning of lap 15, because I am now at P8, trying my best to catch up to Agave. 1 lap later, I was within 1 second of Agave, and I was pretty sure at the main straight I am going to enjoy a DRS, and I might be able to overtake Agave, because I imagine after 1 lap of racing, Agave or Fire must have run out of ERS or low on ERS. So you can see there Agave made a mistake. I tried to use my ERS, and with the help of DRS and slipstream, I was still unable to follow and overtake Agave. See, the reason is because during the pit stop, Agave decided to change his front wing to a lower downforce, which gives him extra pace and extra speed on straight line. At this point of the race, I didn't know that, but I noticed that Agave was quite slow into the corner, and also while exiting the corner, he was struggling as he was driving behind Fire. So I entered the picture, tried to force Agave to make some kind of mistake. I was there just to make him feel uneasy. Because remember, he was fighting against my teammate, which is Fire, in the other Mercedes. So I was hoping that Agave would be distracted by me and Fire could make his run. But Agave is such a calm driver, and he didn't even know. I don't know. It was like he didn't even notice I was there. But at the beginning of lap 18, at the main straight, you can see here, he had a bad exit from the corner, and I was exiting like it was super easy, because I didn't even change my front wing. I was on maximum downforce on preset setup here. But Agave, he suddenly changed his line just before the braking line, and I don't know what happened there. He bumped into Fire and gave Fire an underflow damage, which compromised his race. At this point, I was the only Mercedes that does not have any damage, and I can see that Fire is starting to struggle trying to defend against Agave, and Agave was so aggressive behind him I was trying my best not to hit either of them, because if I hit either of them, I either compromise the team's race or I compromise my own race. So here we can see Agave managed to make an overtake around the outside of Fire, and Fire let me through, and it was my duty, my responsibility to overtake Agave for this race, for the team. Now, as I was following Agave, I've decided not to make any move in Sector 2 or Sector 3, because in Qatar, the track does not give you that much of an overtaking opportunity in a clean way. You can overtake in certain corners, but as you can see here, the track is such a high-speed track, and I bumped into Agave accidentally.
Azwan, you can't just run into the back of
As you can see, as you can hear there, Agave was complaining because I bumped into him. But if you rewind that incident back, I was too quick into the corner, and I didn't anticipate Agave to suddenly go into the racing line at that point. But nevertheless, I managed to leave him 2.8 seconds behind, and now I'm trying to overtake MH for the P4 the race at lap 20. So after a long race without proper front wing, I get to drive properly and comfortably, but unfortunately I was way too behind Mark Gamer in order for me to get on the podium. So I ended the race at P4. Honestly, I could have done better. As you can see, I had the pace during the qualifying, but that's racing. Things happen, damage happen to you, and you just have to make full use of what you've had, and you have to live and go through the decisions you make during the race. So this is the race result and the standing for both constructor and driver championship for Los Muertos Racing. So I won't be racing in Las Vegas. They'll be racing in Las Vegas because I'll be celebrating Eid. The race is happening during the Eid celebration. I'll be back racing with them in Austria and also Spa next week. So thank you guys for watching. If you want to watch me race live with Los Muertos boys and with other league races that I'm going to be joining, you can go to my Twitch. You just go to Twitch and search for Azwan Juperi, and I'll be going live there for every league races that I'm doing this year for F1 2023. Thank you guys again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and click the notification bell, and we'll see you guys again in the next video. Assalamualaikum.